Thank you, Becky, for joining me on Sheet Talking. Our businesses are super complementary. You are
Hmm.
running the Template Nook and the organized
Right.
CEO.com.
Hmm.
You offer a membership as well, just like Better Sheets. I offer
Hmm.
tutorials and then I offer templates, some templates, but then the templates are sort of part of the tutorial. Like it's a added
Right.
bonus. You watch the video and then you can get the sheet. Whereas yours is like completely flipped. You have a
Hmm.
lot of templates available for sale. That is the thing people are buying as a membership to Template
Hmm.
Nook. And then you're also offering, it sounds like Organized CEO is like more of a hands-on consulting. Tell me about that
Hmm.
and what you do.
Yeah. So the organized CEO is how I got started. It's a little more DIY type stuff. So blog posts, I've got checklists people can sign up for, free templates and all that. And it's really just kind of like bringing some awareness to organization. I don't want to like shove it down people's throats because it's boring. But, there are some things that people can do to be a little more organized, and then there's a lot of benefits that come from that. So that's how the business started. I've also done like VIP days, helping people get organized and setting up things in their business, more technical stuff that people struggle with. And then what came about 2 years ago is the template Nook. I ended up like, I love creating the templates. Like it's just so much fun. I love spending my time doing
Of
that.
course.
And I wanted more. So it's like, okay, I'm going to create a membership and I'll just make a new template every week. Like that'll be fun. And so the members get access to all these templates for one low price, and I get to do something fun that I love.
Now that's 2 years ago. You said you're going to make a template per week, and now how many templates do you have you made?
Yeah. So I'm over 70 now. I think we're just
Wow.
about to 80 templates in the membership.
That is pretty much one a week. You've stepped.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good goal. Like, a lot of
Hmm.
people have a business goal, and especially when people are starting to like sell spreadsheets, I found this as well, is like they have this like monetary goal, they have a number of sales goals, they have like these goals. And obviously we have some like milestones we want to get out of our business, right?
Hmm.
And we probably
Right.
had these in our heads. But it's funny that you mentioned that you started out, you're like, I'm gonna make a template a week. I did the
Hmm.
similar thing where I said I'm gonna set the goals to be my effort. When I've done YouTube, I said, okay, I'm gonna do one video a day. When I started Better Sheets 4 years ago, I said, I actually didn't even say anything at the beginning. I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know how I was going to be helpful at the initial thing. And in 24 hours, I made 8 videos. And then I said, okay, well, I got that process down. Like I knew I could make 8 videos in 24 hours. So what is the promise that I can make outside is like, well, I know I'm going to get to 100. I don't know what they'll be about, but I know I'm going to get to 100. So if you buy this now, and over the next like 3 or 4 weeks or so, I ended up making, I think, 10 a week, 10 or 15 a week. And so I knew, okay, that's the effort that I can put in. And that's what it's so funny, this insecurity of mine at the beginning that I said, I don't know what they're going to be about. So I created the Ask Me Anything policy, which is like, just ask me any question and I'll make a video about it. And that's part of the membership. And that
Hmm.
became a huge thing that for the last 4 years I've written like every day. At the very least, if I have
Right.
no idea in mind, if I'm like, I have some interesting stuff I want to share, but like, I just don't know if it's
Hmm.
going to be like worth it. I don't know if people are going to like it. I don't know if people are going to get anything out of it. The thing I can go back to every single time is the question. It's like, okay, someone
Hmm.
asked me this question. I know it's something people something someone wants. And so that effort, right, at the beginning, it's gotten you through 2 years. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I remember when I started thinking about the membership, and I talked to my business mentor slash friend, and she was like, okay, how are you going to keep creating a template every week for multiple years? Like, do you have that many ideas? I was like, well, maybe, I'm not sure. But, I kind of mapped out 6 months and I was like, well, that wasn't too hard. I was like, I can probably come up with some more, and now there's Chat GPT. I can ask, hey, what are some good templates? Here's some I already have. What else should I create? And then I have a request a template feature similar to your ask a question. People can request a template they want. So that's been helpful. And there have been a few ideas in there. I'm like, oh, I never would have thought of that. That's great.
What's one
Let's
of those
create
that you
that.
wouldn't have thought about and someone asked for it?
The most recent one I can think of was a like a form slash database. They wanted me to build in Airtable. So it's a form, people can fill it out if they're interested in the position, and then it generates a database and they can eliminate people and process all that.
I didn't
So
know
that was really
recruiters were
interesting.
using that kind of forms. I always thought it was like email
Hmm
me your resume, or like they used some software like Indeed or Lever or something. I thought they were
hmm
always using something else. But yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Something I would have never thought of myself either.
hmm Yeah. So a lot of people will just post a job opportunity on Facebook and be like, click
Mm.
here to apply. And so a good way to process all of that information has been to use a form that people fill out and then it gets put in a database. It's
I'm
a lot
just now
easier
thinking
than
that that
having
would be the
100 emails.
yeah, like I'm just
Did I
thinking that
just give you an
recruiting
idea?
software is just so expensive. Must be like they must charge
Exactly.
recruiters thousands of dollars.
hmm
So
Yeah, so
like
this was a much more affordable option for like
yeah.
solopreneurs and small businesses.
Yeah, you're trying to find like a position like okay, you need there's some professional positions like accountants, bookkeepers that
hmm
absolutely like you can sort of go and hire a consultant or a part-timer that like has that experience, but like
hmm
there's a lot of jobs, especially in the digital world, especially in like
hmm
local businesses
Exactly.
that have some digital presence. There's like lots of jobs that are like, hey, we need a content creator, we need a content
hmm
coordinator, we need someone
Exactly.
to a video editor, but we don't know where to like go and find a video
hmm
editor on a marketplace. Yeah, like we want to find a local businesses all need that. Like, hey, post in our Facebook group on our Facebook page, we have this job available. Ask your friends. Yeah, that's amazing.
Right. Yeah. So that was a great addition.
And I think about this all the time, right? The same thing that your person asked you, which was like, how are you going to do this for years? And I'm like, I don't have a
Mm.
good answer either. Like, it's going okay
Yeah.
now. I'm pretty like I got a few ideas in my. I always have. Oh my god, I don't have it with me right now. I wish I had this book. I my thing is I write 20 ideas every day.
Oh,
That doesn't mean
awesome.
I get 20 things done a day.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my god, I can't believe I don't have the book with it's downstairs somewhere. Yeah, like I got 20 ideas today. I don't know if I'm gonna get 20 ideas tomorrow. I'm like, I'm
Right.
good today. Yeah, and so this is so interesting that your business is almost obviously complementary, but opposite,
hmm
different than mine, right? Better
mm
Sheets, I
Yeah.
offer, yeah, I do offer like a monthly membership, but it's not a very popular thing. I sell mostly lifetime deals and a lifetime deal at the same price as someone's going to buy a normal Google Sheets or Excel course. Like you buy one
hmm
course, but you can get the entire Better Sheets thing forever at that price. I made that
Yeah.
mental thing in my
hmm
head. I wanted to broadcast it because that's the kind of thing I wanted is like a one-time payment, not think about this because Google Sheets, Airtable, you use a lot of other Google
hmm
Docs, things that are pervasive in our world and online. Most people use them, but don't think about them. Right.
hmm
How are you getting around that? Because I have a lot of self-selecting sort of survivor bias when I get some members, they are really highly thinking about Google Sheets. They're like, oh yeah, this is something I actively want to get better at. And but have you had to deal with like someone, especially coming from like the organized CEO, and then you're like trying to sell them on the template Nook, or are you not like
hmm
thinking about this? Are you sort of just saying, here's what I'm doing? How are you thinking about getting someone who it's like, do I need to
hmm
be better at this or do I need a template even? I how do you
hmm
think about this?
Yeah. So kind of what I focus on is the creative entrepreneurs
Mhm.
who are fabulous at, things like ideas or graphics or, selling or whatever, but they're not nerds. They aren't good in the back end of their business, like us nerdy folk are. So I try to focus on, you don't have to start from scratch with all these
Mhm.
different tools. I use Asana, Trello, Airtable, Google Sheets, and Google Docs, and then Notion is coming in May. So, it's hard for them to open one of these tools and be like, okay, what the hell do I do with it now? So I give them a template and that gives them a place to start and it helps generate those ideas for them and just makes it a little bit easier for them to get organized.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah. I'm actively thinking about this all the time in my business, which is like, can I make your Google Sheets life better? Because I had this a very
Yeah.
similar sort of not promotion, but log line, or I thought selling the idea of like, oh, you use Google Sheets all the time. Let's just make your experience of using Google Sheets better. So Better Sheets originally started not even
Hmm.
like as a necessarily making things in Google Sheets, but it was like the idea was I think people's lives could be better in and their relationship with Google Sheets could be better. That's like the impetus.
Hmm.
But that's a very hard vitamin to sell. And
As
it's
it
not
is.
a painkiller, right? There's the
Mhm.
two businesses concepts, right? One is a vitamin and one is a painkiller, and painkillers sell way better, right?
Right.
Have you
Yeah.
thought about this in this particular way?
I have a lot, and I've thought about just like burning my business down and starting over because it's so hard to sell
Mm,
organization. I can't say like you'll save $10,000 this month, like, or you'll make $10,000. I can't say that. Like, it's
mhm.
probably not going to happen, but you're going to save time. You'll probably save money if you're not, wasting your time, things like that. But it is a really hard sell.
That's funny. I think I even have saved time on my site just because someone else told me to
Hmm.
do that. But in
Right.
reality, okay, so this is a huge reality like check for me and also anyone buying Better Sheets is like, I don't think you're gonna save time if you buy membership to Better Sheets or buy like a video course from me. But you're gonna get something better than saving time is you're going to get an infinite number of ideas. You're going
Hmm.
to end up using Google Sheets way more than you ever did before. You're going to use it
Hmm.
deeper. You're going to have more knowledge about what it can do, and then you're going to have
Hmm.
deeper knowledge as well. So wider
Yeah.
breadth and deeper,
Hmm.
which means you're just going to spend more time being like, oh, can I do this? Oh, can I do this?
Hmm. Right.
And something that's only happened in the last year, I would say, after again, I just ended my fourth year of Better Sheets. And only in the last year did I start to realize that people really wanted automations. And
Hmm.
in their mind, they say, oh, this is going to save me time. Give me a little bit of automation. I do this thing all the time. Let me do it in one click or let it happen automatically. But I got bit by the bug 10 years ago. It's like once you start realizing these things can be automated, you're like, what else can I automate? What else can I do? What else
Hmm.
can I do? And
Yeah.
the impact of your business, funny enough, is an extra $10,000 a month or a year.
Hmm.
Because yeah, not in the fact that you're saving time, but that you're having more impact. You're
Hmm.
sending follow-up emails, you're sending individual unique documents to people, you're copying those documents through a Google script in a Google sheet, and you're personalizing those documents for each and every person automatically instead of you're like, oh, I have this great idea that I think we can have these clients when they first sign on to this, $1,000 to $2,000 a month consultation, they get a Google Doc, and we create a Google Drive folder for them. We name it, we add all of their information there, and it's like, oh, we can automate all that. What else can we automate? Oh, we can create a Google
Yeah.
slide that we can replace their name in here. Oh, we can create three documents instead of one because it's like one person. It's like, oh, now you have a bigger impact, and that's honestly what I've tried to think about in the last year and try pushing
Hmm.
more and more is the automation.
I've had some people asking about it with existing templates I have, but the problem I've run into is the automation features are only available on paid plans of the tools. Asana, for example, you need to pay in order to use the automation features. And a lot of people don't want to pay for the tool, they just want to use the free version. So if I create the templates to fit the paid version, then it's going to be a much smaller audience.
Yeah, that is
So that
true.
is
Yeah,
something
Asana,
I'm looking
Airtable as well.
into. Yes, Airtable as
Yeah.
well. Hmm.
Yeah, with Google Sheets, it's just like, oh, you just have
Yeah,
two
right.
clicks to get there. But my big hang up, not in payment, but in just in the users and members' brains, is the moment I click extensions app script, like
Hmm.
they're like too technical.
Yeah,
And that's a
you're like,
huge
it's
barrier, and
just
I
two
really want to get
clicks.
over that.
Yeah. And you're like, here's a screenshot, here's a video, here's a written explanation, here's an
Right.
audio walkthrough. You
Here's
can
the
do
code.
this.
Here, just copy paste this. Click these three buttons. Click the
There's a lot of
extensions, app
fear.
script, paste, save.
There's a lot of fear around technology and trying new things, and I get that.
Yeah.
I can feel that way about things, certainly.
But then I've
But
also made app scripts. The app scripts that I've shared, some of them I've made into Google Sheet add-ons. And
mhm,
and that's helped a lot. And that's actually the fifth year. As I enter into the fifth year, I am definitely doing more and more tooling creating tools
Hmm.
and products around
Right.
these tools instead of just saying, here's a tutorial on how to do this. Here's the script that you
Hmm.
can copy paste and use yourself. And the third thing, which is like, oh, instead of all of that, just here's 2 clicks, you can get
Yeah.
this done. I don't know if that's really been a huge impact yet. I haven't felt it like maybe with only sheets it could be, but still that's not a
Hmm.
tool yet. It's still sort of a tutorial and a script I sell.
Hmm.
But I want to ask a question because 2 years into creating a template a week, you have over 70 templates.
Hmm.
What and I look at your website now and it doesn't necessarily say that. It doesn't say 70.
Hmm.
I think maybe it does somewhere. But you're not selling all of those things. You are doing a pretty good job now of like selling the idea and the benefit. But how are you dealing with that? Like you're like, because I have the same problem. I'm like, I create a tutorial and then I have like the spreadsheet from that tutorial or made a thing and or a product. I have like dozens of tools, 30 topics and courses, 500 tutorials. Like
Hmm.
this starts to feel like if you buy this, you're going to get a second job. Like, oh, this is like a part-time job you have to get.
Hmm.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah. So a lot of people would ask me like, oh gosh, there's so many templates, I don't know where to start. So that's kind of where your roadmap comes in. Like, hey, if you need help with this thing, check out these templates. If you need help with this, check out these templates. And try to just be really direct about it. And I also link people to, so like if they click on a link for an Airtable template, if I have the same template in Trello or Asana or Google Sheets, they can click a link and go to that variation. So it's really easy for them to find exactly what they need. They just have to navigate through the steps to, identify first, what's my current problem, and then second, what tools are available to help with that problem.
What's the biggest problem people are having? Like, because like it is so interesting that you have two. I have to keep thinking about this. You have two different sites, two different businesses that
Hmm.
cater to two rather similar but different needs. One, the
Hmm.
organized CEO, where that's great that you're having hands-on experience with people who are organizing themselves. And then,
Hmm.
oh, and here's these templates that it sounds like these are pretty synchronous. Like
Hmm.
they work well
Yeah.
together. It's like you're using your
Yeah.
experience here, helping people one-on-one solve the problem right in front of you, and then being
Hmm.
like, hey, here's the solution that like tens of thousands of people could probably get.
Yeah. So I try to like make them fairly cohesive. I've made the branding very similar. I want it to feel like one business, but also just for tech's sake, decided to keep them separate as far as the websites and not breaking one site or the other. It was just simpler to separate it. But what I do is like with the organized CEO, if I have a blog post about a topic, I can drop in, hey, want a template? Join the template nook, direct them to that. So people who are into templates can check that out. People who aren't can just keep on skimming and enjoying the DIY content or whatever they need on the organized CEO.
That's so interesting because like it feels like in my journey, I've again done something slightly similar but like oddly orthogonally different where I started Better Sheets and then each time I would create like a product, I bought a new domain and then
Hmm.
I slowly started to realize in the first couple of years I'm like, oh, this is the wrong way because now there's bettersheets.co, now there's onlysheets.xyz, now there's atomicsheets.com.
Yeah.
Like every idea I had to productize something, I had a new domain for, when really
Hmm.
it's structurally better and technically better, but also for a user to just realize these are all connected, is to have it
Hmm.
like bettersheets.co/onlysheets. Now it's like onlysheets.bettersheets.co. And I have each of the Google Sheet add-ons has their own subdomain at bettersheets.co. And now
Hmm.
all my tools are in a tool section that has it's like bettersheets.co/tools/onlysheets, bettersheets.co/tools/atomic sheets. But it took me a long time to figure that out. Like to
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
no, this
That
product is for a different
consistency.
person.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that brand consistency really helps because I can drop in a call to action for the template nook on the organized CEO site and it doesn't look out of place or strange. and I can link
Right.
to a blog post within the template Nook, and people go to my organized CEO site, and it
Mm.
still kind of flows. So that has been really helpful.
It's interesting. Now, yeah, I was really interested in this roadmap because I think I'm too spastic or too impatient
Mhm.
sometimes to have a roadmap and to stick to it. But you've already been doing
Mhm.
this for 2 years. You have a roadmap map. But your roadmap also is only private, right?
Do you mean as far as like the schedule for when templates come out?
Yeah, because I saw it in a video. I was
Mhm.
like watching your walkthrough, and you're like, oh, here members have access to the roadmap, right?
hmm Yeah, so members can see which templates are coming next. I do 2 months at a time.
Mm.
Behind the scenes, I have a much bigger plan mapped out, of course.
How
But
long
I
do you have?
also I try to do well, I don't do a full year, but I have kind of an idea of what the year is going to look like. But I like to leave open slots because when I get member requests, I prioritize those.
Mm.
And I don't want to mess up my entire calendar for the year by like, trying to plan a whole year in advance. So, there's like some flexibility within the schedule. And then once I release the 2 month like calendar for the members, then those are locked in. And any requests have to come after that.
Is there any reason you're not using that as like a marketing tool, even on like the main page or so even like on a roadmap little side thing? It's like, here's what's coming out in the next month.
The only reason is I just haven't done it. It would be a great feature for the sales page, yeah.
Because when I'm
Occasionally I have shared it and been like, hey, here's what's coming up next. And that's kind of worked. It hasn't had like huge results like a sell would have. But yeah, it is something I should probably add to the sales page for people to see.
yeah, I think this goes back to like sorry, the same problem that I'm having now, which is like, yeah, I don't really want to sell future things that I'm myself unaware of or not. I guess insecure. I'm super insecure
Hmm
about the things that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Like I'm working on a project now, which is a new, a fully new product and sort of is a weird thing for me to do. I'm working on it. And I told a couple people, and already I'm just like, "Ah, I shouldn't have said anything." Like, and I don't want
Yeah.
to say anything to my membership about what I'm working on. Not because I don't want to share it. I'm like just insecure about it.
Yeah, I can get that way too.
So yeah, I think to your credit of why you haven't used that for marketing, it sounds like, yeah, and it also doesn't work that well of like, you're gonna get this. It's like, it probably works better of like, hey, you have instant access to these templates that already
hmm
exist. These help you with these benefits and or problems you're having. Here's the
hmm
immediate solution. This is the painkiller, right?
hmm Yeah.
How are you organizing? So I guess the same question. I was almost going to ask the exact same question again, but it sounds like you're organizing your past templates around the problems that people are having. Actually, I want to share a screen here. Is that okay
Sure.
to?
Yeah.
And it's just the your website. Let me make sure this is working. Yeah. So this is the price after you've done this, which is interesting. You call it action packs. This is mini
hmm
courses and the template
Yeah.
library. Sorry, I saw somewhere, maybe it was in the video that I saw a Vimeo video of you walking through it. It's like you had groups of things here, or is this the
That's
action?
probably it. hmm Yeah, were they like little squares?
Yeah.
Is that what you remember? Yeah, that's the action packs. So those were originally like a 1 month mini course. I feel like that's the best way to describe
Because
it.
there's 12.
Yeah, yeah. So I did it for a year, and it was like, if you need to organize your blogging, here's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And I like made it like super actionable. Like, here are the exact steps you can take. Schedule these in your calendar. And so once I had that content, it was just super easy to add it to the template Nook and then also connect templates with it. So I set up the website in such a way that I can create a new template and link it to an action pack, and it automatically shows up in the action pack. So if people are struggling with their finances and organizing their business finances, they can go to the action pack, see the steps, get resources, they've got templates, the whole thing is right there for them.
How are you managing this in the back end? Is it a custom something you made yourself, or is it using some like Thinkific or Thrivecart or something?
Mm. So I use MemberPress
Ah,
on a WordPress website. And I built the pages myself. I didn't want it to look like course pages. I wanted it to
Right.
feel different.
Similar to
So,
mine, I'm using Ruby on Rails for my site so that I can a very similar thing here where if I made it super simple for me to update my site. So if I add a
mhm,
new tutorial, it takes me like less than a minute to add it, and then I can add
yep,
links to like all the formulas that it features so that you can see other videos with those formulas.
hmm
And if it's in any
right,
course, I just add it. Like the course is already made, I just add that video to that course. It's super simple.
hmm
Ruby on Rails backend, custom made.
Yeah,
That
that's one
like
of the reasons I picked MemberPress is I wanted it to be super customizable. I
nice.
didn't want to do something like Thinkific where I was very limited
Right.
because I wanted to organize it differently, basically.
Yeah,
So,
I wanted to organize it better for users as well. And like
yep.
I also post some courses on Udemy, and Udemy is really cool because right, they are hosting everything, they're selling it as well.
hmm
It's a good marketplace. And then it's nice that I can add external resources or links or even upload documents as well to each of the videos, but it very much is a video first. Whereas
hmm
I wanted to create these directories that were around the concepts of sheets. So, for instance, a formula directory that I made, bettersheets.co/formulas. This is not well like traffic, but it is like a super
hmm
important part of my site where if you see this formula in a video, every video
hmm
that has this formula is linked to this page. So this page now has every video that this formula is featured in.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And this was like the idea, this was the intent of the website and the idea of Better Sheets originally, but it took me like 2 years to build this thing. I'm just working on, oh my, I think my Wi-Fi is going out.
Yeah, it's okay.
And that's interesting that you're doing something similar and you found that. Did you find that you started this back end member press because you wanted to make it easy for you or you wanted that custom? What was the first thing, the customization or like a simple publishing route?
I'm fairly techy. Not like super, but pretty good with tech. So I wasn't very intimidated by having something that's not easy and like plug and play. And I'm fairly good with WordPress and building sites, so I could handle all that. But I needed something that was, yeah, very customizable. I wanted it on my own site. I didn't want to build on a
Mhm.
tool like Thinkific. I actually started the membership in Thrivecart Learn. Like
Mhm.
I already had Thrivecart. I didn't want to pay for more. I was like, let's just try this membership thing and see how it goes. And it worked so well. I was like, okay, I should actually like make this a membership site because it was just super wonky for people.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was really what drove it is I needed something customizable and something that was my own website.
Nice. I really like this section. What makes this different
Mm,
than stuff you've done before? How did you
yeah.
come up with this section and these particular like templates? They've been tested, expert
Mm,
advice. Are these things people were asking you or saying, "Hey, you do this differently?" Or yeah, how
mhm.
did you come up with this differentiation?
Couple of different ways. So I started this when I started this, I joined, I think it's called Membership Academy,
Mhm.
and they're brilliant with membership stuff. And so they had like here's a sales page template. These are the sections you need kind of thing. So this was one of those. The first one, the engineered templates, I am a former engineer. That was my degree and my corporate work previously. And sometimes I hesitate to share that. I don't know, going back to that insecure thing, and I'm an introvert and I feel like I'm bragging sometimes. And I had a branding strategy session with somebody who was just genius. And she was like, why don't you talk more about that? And I was like, but, well, like people think I'm like showing off or something. And she's like, if you wanted to buy contracts, you would look for someone who is a lawyer. That's just obvious. So she was
Mhm.
like, you need to be using this to show, your expertise, your skills, etc. So that's where that one came from. That's me trying to include more of myself and to be more authentic.
I would push this
Um,
way more.
yeah, I really
Um,
should.
You do
hmm
have, so this is something that by the way, I'm working on
hmm
myself is I had a very similar thing here where I was like,
hmm
here's a bunch of things. And then I also, similar about me. section. And someone in a similar session when I was talking to someone else, I said they asked, why do people buy better sheets? And I have answers, like, thankfully,
Right.
because I literally ask people when they buy better sheets, why did you buy better sheets? So I have a list of like hundreds
Hmm.
of reasons why they bought it. And honestly, one of the many top reasons is they wanted they have I have an ask me anything policy, so they can ask me anything. Two, they wanted
Hmm.
access to an expert.
Right.
They talked about me a lot. Um,
Hmm.
and my theory was, okay, let me put more of me. And I thought of it in
Hmm.
this section.
Yeah.
That was my idea. But at the end of my section, I mentioned in like a tiny little blurb, oh, I have an ask me anything policy. Now I changed that to the top. So here,
Hmm.
have a question, ask me anything. Someone else pointed that out to me, that like I had this little tiny thing. It was a tiny little thing, and I brought it up
Hmm.
to the top. And this is similar here where, yeah, you have this engineered template, but you say right here, designed by an engineer. In that should be way higher.
It really,
And it,
I'm edging into being more authentic and sharing more. It's a gradual process for an
well,
introvert.
authentic. So here's a similar thing that I have. I'm honestly working on at the moment. Is you have? Oh my God, I thought I saw it somewhere. Oh, you don't actually list all of your templates here.
I don't. It's something I've been meaning to add and just haven't prioritized.
So I don't know the best way to do this. I have this like tools thing, but I don't think this is very
Hmm.
good either. Like it's not very built with hierarchy. It's built to show volume, but it's not built to show impact and what it could do for someone's business. Like these are what it is. It's not like what is the benefit to you.
Right. Yeah.
And sorry, you have this section here, which is really nice about benefits, right?
Yeah.
But
Because a lot of people are like, organization, gross. I don't have time for that.
you should say that. I mean, that should be instead of like a question here is like you should put the words in people's mouth that they're already thinking, which is like you probably think
Hmm.
organization is gross, time consuming, but I can make
Yeah.
it pleasurable. It can make it
That's great.
simple.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I noticed here is that you have all of the benefits, but it's not a question of it has always been a question of should we have benefits or features on a page? And the answer
Hmm.
is always both. Like you should have a benefit
Right.
and a feature. And I didn't when I read this, like boost confidence. And this seems like it's generally about like confidence,
Hmm.
generally about saving money. But if you could say something in like a few words that say, here's the template that can save you money. Here's the video that
Hmm.
can here's the literal video that can help you boost your confidence. Here's the
Yeah.
best video or template in those few words, if you can tie it from, because people are skeptical, right? This is what I
Definitely.
feel every time I read my own site and I read other people's sites when I'm trying to buy a course. I'm skeptical. I'm like,
Hmm.
can this really save money?
Yeah.
Is this really gonna like increase my productivity? What does that even mean? Like, what does
Yeah.
increased productivity mean? That's something I struggle with too, is like how to
How to
manage
show the benefit, how to show those benefits.
yeah, and some benefits,
Hmm.
like I've said earlier, is like a very general benefit of learning better, more Google Sheets or or buying templates is to save time. And for me,
Hmm.
I found that people don't save time. They actually spend more time in Google Sheets, but they have more impact on their
Hmm.
business, which is the real benefit we want. We want to
Right.
save time away from the
Hmm.
menial tasks. Sometimes those menial tasks need to be done because they're going to have an impact on our business.
Right. I also try to focus a little on scalability. Like
Hmm.
it's much easier for you to scale if you have systems and processes in place,
And
as far as
you
like
say that
taking
on
on a team and things like that.
you say that on the organized CEO.
Probably not.
Oh,
It's at the top of the template nook. There you go. Second
that's
line.
if you can. I got this
Mhm.
advice before too. Is my
Okay.
here like this is still too much. This is like 5 lines of text here, but before it
Hmm.
was three and three. It was three or four bullet points
Hmm.
with these emojis, but it was also this text up here. The two things. This is
Hmm.
still too much text. And this is same here. Does this sound this is hard to read as you know the F the way people read skim
Yeah.
in an F format. And so does this sound familiar? You struggle to find and people will like start falling off after these few sentences, few words.
Right.
you know, you need some organization, like right there, like, or maybe you feel organized, like that's what people
Hmm.
will read. And so if this could be instead of 2 lines, it could be 1 line,
Yeah.
it would be faster to get through.
Hmm. That's a great point.
You struggle to find what you need. But these are really good points and they have a good cadence, I think, because it's the struggle, the
Maybe
problem.
a few more points, but make them shorter. So like 5 instead of 3, but much shorter. So,
Yeah, and I have this again, I have this problem too, is like I rather it be really specific to the user and also beneficial to me, like the thing that they're the feature that they're gonna have. This,
hmm.
if I also write about, I also say this about selling templates on sales sites, is you do want to actually agitate it. So this is a really nice thing that people should be reading this whole thing because struggling to find what you need, tasks fall through the cracks because of that. And then because of that, it gets even worse. And then you also waste valuable time. So this should all read like a wave of, not a wave, a waterfall of like, here's the thing that you're doing wrong, but that also causes this problem, that causes this problem, that causes this problem.
Yeah.
But we can fix all of that with this, right?
That makes sense. Hmm.
It's called like, I forgot what it's actually called. I call it agitation. Like you, because most people will be like, here, you have a problem. Here's the solution. Here's a problem. Here's the
Hmm.
solution. Here's a problem. Here's the solution. And that ticky tack it staccato way isn't it,
Yeah,
it keeps people skeptical.
that makes sense.
And actually, this section needs, I think, 2 extra things, not less things, but 2 extra things. What are the other things people have tried?
Oh, like list some things that people have tried for organization.
And also their problems. So this is going to be a very bad example because I don't know your
Yeah, that's
thing, but
okay.
like you've tried to go minimalist and then you deleted a bunch of stuff you ended up needing later. Like
Yeah.
whatever the solution that they did before or tried, you've hired a consultant that was too expensive and
Hmm.
and didn't give you enough help, right?
Hmm.
And it's just like those are the, I don't know what it's called, but yeah, other options. And then their
Hmm.
problems. Is it too expensive or is it too time consuming?
Right.
Did you hire a consultant and feel like you got an extra side job to do?
Yeah. Have you tried doing it on your own? Ended up frustrated and overwhelmed?
Or
Mm.
maybe not just frustrated or overwhelmed, because if you're doing it on your own, you're usually like, you don't know what you're doing.
That
It's
too.
usually like, oh, not overwhelmed, but like just, oh, I don't even know where to like, okay, I want to do it on, I want to watch a bunch. What do you do when you do it on your own? Do you go watch a bunch of YouTube videos? Do you join a membership?
Hmm.
Do you get a business coach? Do you ask friends who also
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing?
Right.
Um, do you go to people you think are more successful than you, and are as unorganized as you are?
Hmm.
What are like actually like what are the real other options and what are the real actual things that happen from, and being super specific here is gonna like
Right.
it's gonna it's gonna be authentic because it's specific.
Probably one for my audience would be online courses, you know, promised you
Right.
results and, it took too much time or it wasn't actionable, which is a word I like to use.
Right, a lot of strategy is not actionable.
Hmm.
But if you're given the tool, like, oh, here's the thing. I watched this course just to find out what tools they use. Yeah, those are all good. Yeah, actually, so funny enough, that's 2 completely different things I would do here. One, make it shorter, one, make it completely longer.
Yeah, I get it though. In some
Yeah.
ways shorter, in some ways longer. I get it.
Yeah, same here is like this is like full sentences here. Either make it shorter or
Hmm.
maybe what you could do is, and I know this is very much like a story like this, that then this, then this. Like you're trying
Hmm.
to say, here's a big hero section, here's what we're doing, here's the problem you're trying to do, here's why I created this, and then here's the thing that I made. But you might be able to take a little bit of a switch here. Is this why might be better to back up the thing you do. So introduce the template Nook before, and then say,
Hmm.
here's why I created this, and go a lot deeper and say, here's why I did it in this particular way. Because that's super interesting to people is like, yeah, why do you sell
Yeah.
templates as a membership? Is
Hmm.
it like, why can't I buy just one template that I need once? Like maybe it's
Hmm.
because like as a consumer, I didn't know if I should buy this one or this one or this one. Now I want to give you access to everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't want to just have you buy a template, use it and not use it. Oh, I wanted to create a video that can help you with that template. So I had to
Hmm.
create my own system that connected a video with this template. Sometimes we're buying a template and we want to buy more and more and more, and it racks up. As a consumer, I kept spending, I ended up spending hundreds of dollars on templates over the course of a long time. Again,
Hmm.
this is me saying
Yeah.
this off the cuff.
Yeah. No, it's good. You're right on track.
But also the combining, like, here's the thing. It's just another example of you talking about how the differentiating, and then saying, here's why
Hmm.
this, and it's allowing you to talk about a benefit and differentiation and the thing that they're buying all
Hmm.
in place, instead of having
Right.
those separate. Again, I have been doing this separate my whole time here, and I'm
Hmm.
I'm working on this to make it more conducive to each other, instead of just
Hmm.
saying this is Google's Sheets Mastery at your own pace. And instead of saying, oh, here's a bunch of videos,
Hmm.
I'm making changes now to show that I don't even know if I have it yet, but a section, it says automate your sheets, the thing that someone wants, but it shows a
Hmm.
beginner course and an intermediate course and an advanced course, so that instead
Right.
of saying it's at your own pace, or saying it's for beginners, intermediate, or all, saying all levels, I'm showing it by showing, here's an introduction to
Hmm.
this topic. Here's something that people who are know about this may want to do. And even if you're advanced, here's something else you can do here.
Hmm.
And having those, and instead of saying quick tips, I used to have a section that actually had like the 5 best YouTube videos, but people
Hmm.
didn't click on it. And instead of
Yeah.
saying just deep courses, again, the thing people wanted was this little tiny thing, which is automate your sheets. So I'm
Yeah.
taking that, putting it at the top, and then having everything else support it. This one was
Yeah.
funny.
It's
This
that.
people wanted a streamlined business. So how do you streamline your business? You automate your sheets. I
Mm.
actually used to have two different things here than of these 4, and I deleted them because people didn't care.
Hmm. Right.
One of them used to be like generating invoices, or this one, I think it literally was generate invoices faster. And instead I
Hmm.
put insights, because people didn't, even though that's a thing that people actually did do, there's like, oh, that
Yeah.
people ask me all the time, like, how do I make an invoice? How
Hmm.
do I automate it? But like nobody clicked on it in this section. Yeah, it's so funny that our businesses are totally complementary. You're selling templates with videos. I'm
Hmm.
selling videos with templates.
Right. Works both ways.
Yeah. Is there any questions you have for me?
I feel like I should have thought of some of that in advance. Now I feel like I'm on the spot. I think of something.
Okay.
I don't know. I do want, why don't you focus more on templates? Because it's a kind of a quick win, whereas the tutorials take more time. So why did you decide to go that route?
I didn't do this so like top of mind. I sort of did it as a
Right.
function of the effort that I was doing. It's actually
Hmm.
super faster for me. It's super fast for me to create a tutorial, not a template.
Hmm.
It takes more time for me to create a template, because in the time that I could create the template, I could have just recorded and edited down a video.
Hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, I feel the opposite. It's much easier for me to create a template than to sit down, record a video, get it right, edit it, make
But
a
I'm not saying
transcript
my
or subtitles,
tutorials
whatever.
are like, what, they're not well crafted. They're not edited super well. There's no animations, there's no
Hmm.
visual effects. And
Yeah.
I can see a future where I do sort of have the thing at the end be the main thing, and then it's like, oh, by the way, there's this like video that you can see how to build it. Right now it's like, oh, here, let me teach you and show you how to build this thing, and then, oh, and you get the thing at the end. I can see in a year it
Hmm.
being totally different. I have, though, in the last year, totally focused on this place where I am super differentiated, which is I have coding ability. I can code. And I thought
Hmm.
a year ago, or 2 years ago, actually, that it was, oh, let me show you how to code. But the vast majority of people in the world would much broader usage of the things that I'm making are not in, let me show you how to do this, but here, let me show you the thing. Let me
Hmm.
give you the thing.
Right.
And that's taken me a long time to get into my head. So
Yeah.
It's the answer to your question is just 4 years of bad habits probably have like come up. But
Hmm.
also I did think 4 years ago I was a differentiator in the market. 4 years
Hmm.
ago, I saw that people were selling templates, but nobody was really showing you how to create things in Sheets.
Hmm.
Whereas I had spent like 5 years in a startup building internal tools that were used and impacted the business. And it was really hard to find that stuff. The Google Sheet tutorials and the courses 4 years ago were like how to do financial analysis better. And we're focusing on a few spreadsheet formulas. They were very focused on a financial business operations kind of thing. No one was
Hmm.
really showing you how to do AppScript. I learned AppScript from reading Lab Manal's blog, and it was the only resource I could find at the time, like 10 years ago. And he was just giving code away for free, but and just writing about it. And I was like, there's no one that's like showing you how this works in a
Hmm.
spreadsheet. And that's when I started making the screen share tutorials. And at the time, 4 years ago, it
Hmm.
was different. It was quite a differentiator.
Yeah. I try to stay away from a lot of educational stuff. It's just
Mhm.
not an, ironically, I was an English teacher in Korea for a year, but I still don't consider myself like an educator type person. I like the build and like, here you go, here's your thing. But there are some pieces where I'm doing the educating type stuff, like with the action packs, the mini courses, with the videos I create to go with the template. A lot of people, the majority of people just take the template and go. But there are some who enjoy the videos and I'll like demonstrate, hey, this is how you can customize it. Like, everybody's different. I don't want you to just take my template and force it into your business. Like, take it and then make it work for you. So there's a little bit of educational stuff in there, but I didn't want to teach tools. Like there are already a lot of people doing that. And I get really frustrated because tools change so much. Like there's always something new. So it just became easier for me to just like, here's a product, buy it. Like, here you go. And you can do what you want with it.
Yeah, it's
But
taken
yeah,
me a
it's
long time to get to that point. I gave away a lot of stuff for free early on, thinking it was good
mm-hmm,
marketing and not putting a email wall on there. Like
mm-hmm,
the last big thing I gave away for free was in the new year, a calendar. That's
mm-hmm,
the entire year in one tab of a sheet, but then also
mm-hmm. I
printable in
saw
one.
that. Mm-hmm,
Um, and thankfully I put that behind an email wall. But there's still a lot of stuff I give away, like bettersheets.co/VisiCalc. It just redirects you to the Google Sheet that you just get, which is the entire, well, a simulation of VisiCalc built inside of AppScript, which like also some ideas, and maybe that's also the answer to your question of why do I make videos not sell templates is like no one,
mm-hmm,
not a single person on earth is going to buy that. It's
mm-hmm.
a 40-year-old software recreated in Google Sheets. Like
Right.
not a single person is going to pay money for that. So like, why would
Mm-hmm,
I ever sell it? Whereas like, also people don't care, but I thought it would be just the funniest thing ever because I released it on April 1st last year as an April Fool's joke because it
yeah.
works. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm,
But yeah, some of my ideas just are like, why would anyone ever buy this? And I just
mm-hmm,
think it's more fun to show you how to work. For instance, I asked you earlier, what is something somebody asked for that you didn't think of and it was really good? And you mentioned it was the
mm-hmm,
recruiter form and database.
mm-hmm.
In my
Yeah.
case, I think this is the funniest thing anyone's ever asked me because I was like, how is this ever useful? They asked for an automation where if somebody else creates a new tab on a Google Sheet, it's automatically deleted. And I was just like, who would ever use this? I literally was just like, how is this useful in any way, shape,
Mm-hmm.
or form? This is
Yeah.
literally the opposite of how spreadsheets work. And also, like, who are you giving? I was just thinking about the like conversations and the endless meetings that were like, hey guys, could you
Mm-hmm.
just stop adding new tabs to the sheet? And then people didn't listen and they were like, I think you kept adding new tabs to the sheet. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, what organization is having these meetings? And they're still making these tabs. This guy's like, I need this automated. but
Hmm.
I did it for them. And I said, okay, here, and I have this video. Here's how to automate. You create a list of the names of the tabs you want. And if anyone creates a new tab, it checks that and then it deletes it if it's not on that
Hmm.
list. Ends up, the funny thing is, that automation that I made ends up in VisiCalc because VisiCalc at the time when it was released had this like limit of rows and columns. And so I wanted to have a limit of rows and columns in Google Sheets. And I was like, oh my God, like literally last week I made this automation for this guy and I used the
Yeah.
same code and the same idea that I had to figure out for him. And I was like, oh, this is great. So weird.
You
So I
just
have
never
some
know.
weird ideas, but also members have some weird ideas too.
Hmm. I do. I do. I get some very specific requests sometimes. And that
Yeah.
just for example, like made up example, I won't like call anybody out. But maybe like I need to organize my barbershop inventory. I'm just like,
Mhm.
that's great. So here's a template that you can start with. Like I'm not going to make like a specific template for that one type of business because I have
Mhm.
such a huge like variety of business owners. So I'm like, okay, that's a little too granular for me, but we can kind of use this and make it work.
Right.
So yeah, I do get some odd requests every now and then.
I mean, every request is odd, right? Like, think of
Hmm.
I continuously think about the chain of events that have happened that you have to ask me a question, right? Okay, you've Googled for this. There's no tutorials that really cover this, or the
Hmm.
tutorials don't finish it, or maybe there was no results. You've asked now ChatGPT. Now we live in a world of ChatGPT. Okay, you
Right.
must have asked this question to ChatGPT, didn't get the right answer, or you got an answer but it didn't work, you didn't know how to implement it. That happens a lot. It's
Hmm.
like it gives you the right answer, but
Yeah.
it doesn't give you the implementation. And now you're asking me, so you've asked Google, you probably YouTube, you probably Googled and YouTubed and ChatGPT,
Hmm.
and now you're asking me. Like, okay, this question is going to be weird
Hmm.
100% of the time because like if it wasn't weird, if you knew like I have this all the time. Somebody asked me, how do I move data from sheet to sheet or file to file? Or they'll use a
Hmm.
different word. And I'm like, oh, that's a very common question, but like you used a different word. You used tab
Right.
instead of sheet, or you said sheet instead of tab, or pull data. How do I
Hmm.
pull data? Okay, what does that mean?
Right.
Like it's a common thing. You want to scrape the internet. You want to go to Instagram and get the name. You want to go to TikTok and get the number of followers of an account. You have the
Hmm.
URL. You go to the URL, get the these things are common, but like how do I
Hmm.
pull data from TikTok? I don't know.
Hmm.
That's a weird
Yeah.
question. But yeah, I actually love those long tail. I think I have a feeling that like that frustration of like, okay, is there going to be a barbershop inventory template? Yeah, there's not a template for that, but maybe there will be in next week or in 2 months.
Hmm.
It's on the roadmap now.
Yeah.
There is only one barbershop inventory template available, and
It's not going to say
usual.
scissors, but there's going to be a place where you can plug that in.
There are so many types of scissors. Like, so you have
Hmm.
your scissor
Right.
settings, you have
Hmm.
scissor length, you have different types of barbers that have different types of
Hmm.
razors. Is it a
Yeah.
gentleman's barber versus a women's barber? No, I guess there are no
Hmm.
women barbers. Stylists, they're not
Yeah,
barbers.
probably. I don't know. Again, not my expertise. I can't help with this, but I can build you a basic template.
I had this is a really bad example, but I had a video where I was like, here's the 10 spreadsheets that I want someone else to make. Like I may be good at like Google Sheets, but
Hmm.
there's something about this spreadsheet that like needs a different expertise. Like I
Hmm.
wanted
Yeah.
a at home at desk workout planner
Hmm.
that I
Hmm.
could have in a Google Sheet. And I was like, I don't actually know some good at home at my desk workouts, but someone
Hmm.
else does. And so like I can do the spreadsheet side of it, but like the actual expertise needs to be like a fitness person. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I come across that a lot too. If I do like specific like business strategy type templates. So like a launch planner. Like I'm not a launch specialist. That's not what I do, but I know the basics. So I go in and I do some research. Maybe I chat GPT, make them create me a list and like, okay, here's the things I need. Now, how do I take it? This is where I come in. I take the information and turn it into something functional and actionable for people to use.
and
So yeah, there
I
can be
wish
a
there
lot of
was
research involved.
there's a lot of research and it'd probably be a lot easier if it like that person that like knew that stuff if we could like work together. Like I feel like there
Yeah.
could be a
Hmm.
better way to collaborate. I do it with consulting now. I just help someone build something, and then now I
Hmm.
know like the intricacies of that. I
Right.
won't make something else that I just made for someone, but I'll use the
Hmm.
learnings and the little things. Like I helped someone build sheetifycrm.com. It's like a product. I built that and all the automations and stuff inside. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
go build my own CRM, even though on Better Sheets I have like a quick CRM and I have all of the pieces of it. But I will like take a lot of the stuff I learned about like automating Google tasks, getting them from Sheets, or doing we did a bunch of stuff where we sent personalized emails from a sheet. And I knew all that stuff before, but like some of the things we did that were like take a template and then include personalization in it and then give them access to
Hmm.
editing the template. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah.
This is a really cool
Yeah.
implementation.
I've
Now
thought
that
about
thing
that
makes sense.
as like a future option for my membership is bringing in experts in other areas, especially things like people who are experts in a tool that I'm not
Mhm.
interested in. For example, ClickUp. I really don't enjoy working in ClickUp. It's a great tool. I think it's fabulous for teams, but I don't enjoy it personally. Like if I found a ClickUp expert, they could make some templates and then I could also promote their business. You know, if you're interested in learning more about ClickUp, check out the person who made these templates, things like that. So it would
Yeah.
be really helpful to work with some experts in other areas to collaborate in that way.
I just wish there was a better, easier way to like interface. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's like I have a road, I put together a roadmap and say, okay, I'm going to work with 12 people and building a new product together. I don't know if it's like
Hmm.
putting it out to my email list and saying, hey, I'm looking to work with 12 experts on building a sheet. I'll build your sheet for you. We'll promote it. Blah, blah. Like, I don't know what that looks
Hmm.
like, right? I don't know what the good interfacing is.
Hmm. That actually sounds pretty brilliant. You know, just going with the example I had of launching, you know, get a launch expert who needs a template built in a tool they aren't really good at, let's say Asana. I build the Asana template, they help with the content and, you know, what needs to be included, and then we can both work together and maybe they could be an affiliate for it and get 80% of the sales or something.
Something that I just started doing was reaching out to creators, video creators as well, other video
Hmm.
creators. So people on YouTube and TikTok, and just saying, hey, I do Google Sheets. I have this channel and I can build a Google Sheet for you. Here's an idea that I watch your channel. Here's an idea that I had for you, but I can also send you
Hmm.
more ideas.
It's
That
awesome.
didn't actually turn out as well as I thought it would. I thought it would be
That sounds
fantastic.
good to me. Yeah. Like, oh man, I should try that.
Try it. Maybe it's just like my approach was wrong. I don't know if it was like maybe I didn't do enough. I think I've done it
Hmm.
now 14 times and only gotten one reply. I probably need to try
Hmm.
like 100 and
Yeah, that
say,
would probably
okay,
give you
that's
better data.
yeah, exactly. More data is better data. Thanks so much for chatting, sheet talking here
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. I love it. I could talk about sheets all day. Sheets and templates in general.
Yeah, you have so many you work with. That's so interesting that also you create templates in so many products, Airtable,
Hmm.
Notion. You said you're getting a Notion now.
Yeah. Notion
Yeah,
comes out next month. So
really cool.
yeah, I really like learning software. It's an interest I have. For a couple years. I did an internship as a software developer, and I did a lot of like the front end user interface type stuff. So I love looking at software, trying it out, seeing, you know, where it could be better, what's worse, you know, which tool's better, etc. So yeah, I like them all. So just keep creating.
That's what we do best, right? We just keep creating.
Hmm.
Thanks for
Yeah.
joining me.